All right, pro days continue as we head towards the 2021 NFL Draft. Joined by Paul Dottino, I am John Schmeelk. We're going to head south and do a couple SEC teams today and an ACC team. But Paul, let's start with LSU, one of the biggest programs in college football, and they will be sending out another top 5, maybe top 10 pick this year in wide receiver Ja'Marr Chase. He held out of the 2020 season due to the pandemic. This is what he worked on.
So, when I opted out, I was working on a lot of my speed stuff, and after a while, I started working on my routes again, getting used to dropping my weight again, getting used to my feels and my feet again. So it was just me all trying to feel comfortable again.
Paul, at his pro day, Ja'Marr Chase checked pretty much every box. 6 foot, 201 pounds, ran a 4.38, 11-foot broad jump, 41-inch vertical. He does it all. The only thing I'll maybe ding him on, he is under 31-inch arms, but okay.
Yeah, really. I think the arm length actually does hurt his run blocking capabilities, John.
And maybe his release at the line, too, on some of his routes.
He needs a little more polish on his release because, again, he hasn't had to work on it very much because he dominates his level of competition. But the run blocking thing, NFL coaches do want their receivers to block off the edge and to block downfield to create larger runs. That is something he will definitely have to pick up on as he gets to the pros.
But if you're looking for an ex-wide receiver in that DeAndre Hopkins type of
outstanding
mold, he's your guy, and he will be off the board very, very early in this year's draft. Let's go to his teammate, wide receiver Terrace Marshall. He did play last year, had a big year once Justin Jefferson and Ja'Marr Chase were out of the building. He ran a 4.38 40-yard dash, 6'2.5" inches tall, 205 pounds.
Marshall's another guy for me who I think with a little bit more polish, I don't think he was pushed enough to develop to his full potential with the Tigers. He's a great 50-50 contested ball catcher. I mean, this guy can really do damage against smaller defensive backs, but I do think that the best is yet to come for him.
Played inside and outside as well. Versatile player, can play both those spots. Let's over to the defensive side of the ball, Paul. Schmeelk Cox. Now, he's a transfer from a smaller school, just 1 year at LSU, 6'3", 232. He didn't do much at his pro day because of a hamstring tweak, but he's another one of these linebackers that can cover.
He dominated at North Dakota State at the FCS level, but then when he transferred to LSU, he showed he could play with the big boys, but wasn't quite as dominant.
Well, which is not a surprise.
It's not, and that will be the question now as he jumps to the next level, because what he showed at North Dakota State made a lot of people's jaws drop.
No question about it. Let's stick on defense, Paul. Got to mention Tyler Shelvin. Just because he's 6'2" and 350 pounds, if you want a plugger, this guy's your guy.
He is strictly a guy you stick in the middle of your defensive line, and he just gobbles people up in a phone booth. You're not going to expect him to necessarily be a two-gapper. He's not going to move much up and down the line. You just plant him there, and you let him hold the point of attack.
All right, let's stick in the SEC, go over to Kentucky. We think of them as basketball, but they got a couple maybe first-rounders coming out in the NFL draft this year. One is Jamin Davis, a linebacker, 6'3", 234, sub-4.5 40-yard dash at 4.49. A lot of people think he could be a real difference-making linebacker in the pros, Paul.
John, we're talking about a one-year starter, and a lot of people aren't sure. Is he going to be a will linebacker, or is he going to be a down defensive end, depending upon if you're running a 4.3 or a 3.4? Again, because of only 1 year as a starter, there's a lot of questions about his rawness and his potential.
All right, let's go to the secondary. Kelvin Joseph, Paul, 5'11", 197. He ran a 4.28 40-yard dash. That's fast.
Yeah, and as I look at the record here, 4 interceptions in 9 games. Played a year at LSU and then a year at Kentucky after the transfer. And again, the amount of playing time is something that people are kind of curious about because they think there's a lot more room for his development.
Let's jump to the ACC, Wake Forest. Carlos Basham, Paul, he weighed in at 6'3", 274 pounds. He actually played, at least according to Wake Forest, at 280 last year. So he dropped a little bit of weight, but at that size, he ran a 4.64 40-yard dash. He has production. You can play him at end. You can play him at tackle. This guy is just a good all-around defensive lineman.
John, I like him as a 4.3 defensive end. He is strong and powerful up in the upper body. They call him Boogie Basham. That's his nickname. How can you not like that if you're an announcer? but I think he can also play that three-technique defensive tackle in the four-man front. Certainly a legit prospect. I do wonder how he's going to play against the run, though, in the NFL.
Likely off the board near the top of round number 2.
I agree.
For Paul Dottino, I'm John Schmeelk as we continue to track pro days leading up to the 2021 NFL Draft.